Welcome Aquarius and Aquarius cross watchers to your singles and new love read for March 2023. So I hope you guys have all had a great week and that your weekend is shaping up to be a good one. So we're going to get where you are, where you're headed, what you need to know, and then we're going to get your next love interest, whether you want them or not, from this deck, and that will be for Aquarius Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, and that'll be time-stamped in the description box below. Wow. So we have where you are is the King of Cups, where you're headed is the Page and the Two, and then what you need to know. Interesting. What you need to know is the Knight of Wands, and then we do have the Queen of Wands here at the bottom of the deck. So Aquarius, I mean, obviously where you are is a pretty emotionally mature place, but I'm actually feeling, feels like there's quite a bit of almost like unemotion. I don't even think that's a word, but I feel like there is, it almost feels like you're in a bit of limbo. Excuse me. It's almost like may not be the actual situation, but you moved on from a past hurt and you're kind of waiting for the next thing to come into your life. And I feel like there seems to be something here about, it feels like you're a little bit hardened towards other people. It feels like you either had multiple relationships or, one really bad one that seemed to almost sour you against the possibility of new love. I am feeling here that there's someone that is looking up to you. And I feel like, I'm going to be honest, okay? You might not want to hear this. But I feel like the longer that you stay in this really hardened energy, the less this person feels that you're the right one to look up to. It's almost that energy of like, of course we're all flawed human beings, right? But this person that looks up to you seemed to kind of think that you were this infallible superstar, superhero almost. And the longer that you stay really closed off from people, it's like it can go one of two ways. It's like either they're going to realize that that's not who they want to be, or they may follow in your footsteps and be, it's almost like they'll be as hard as you, but it will be harder for them to change that, because it's like there isn't a reason, you know what I mean? There isn't a core hurt that they have from, that's kind of caused them to close themselves off. So it's like there isn't this hurt that they can go in and change and heal, right? I feel like it would actually be a bit more challenging for them, because it's like that's how they're being, it's almost like that's how they see the world as functioning, is that energy there. So where you're headed, really interesting here. We have the Page and the Two of Cups. So Aquarius, I kind of feel like something is going to humble you here, but not in the like you're going to be, humiliated or anything like that, okay? It doesn't feel like it's got a whole negative connotation to it. And in all my ADHD glory, I'm realizing that I didn't turn the candles on. Sorry, guys. It just kind of feels with this that something happens here that seems to soften you, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. It's almost like, it does feel like it's a little bit out of the blue. I almost want to say it could be may not be the actual situation, okay, but it's the energetics of it. It's almost like that person that looks up to you, it's almost like they'll find somebody that they're, really crazy about in a really good way, right? Like that they've kind of fallen for here. And it's almost like they come to you asking for your permission to be in love with this person. And I actually feel that it's like, and that seems to open your eyes here. You know what I mean? And not in a like, oh, you've been a bad influence, you've been a this. It's not to crap all over you, Aquarius. It's just to kind of almost like give you a bit of a heads up that this is what's coming down the pipe. And what you need to know, I think we're going to pull some clarifiers on this because I don't want to get into like, you know, fear mongering or anything, but it does feel like there is someone, or, you know, could be two people, maybe they're related, but whatever they are, I feel like these two tend to be, it's like either they're self-destructive or their self-destructive tendencies are kind of going to, it feels a little vindictive. I'm hesitating to say that because I don't want to be like, oh, someone's coming to get you sort of thing, but it just feels like there's almost like this unspoken ploy here. And I actually feel like if you just focus on this with this person that looks up to you, I feel like whatever kind of game this Queen and Knight of Wands want to come into play, it's almost like they might kick up dust or try to, you know, get involved or something. But if you focus on what is really important to you here, and it's not like, oh, make this important and focus. No, this is, I feel like you may want to kind of seek some sort of revenge, or maybe tell these people off, whatever it is. But I feel like if you focus on this, it's almost like this Knight and Queen of Wands might kind of have a bit of a laugh at your expense. But it's almost like they'll think they've won even though they've lost. If that makes sense. I also feel that there's something here that really didn't work out. Maybe it was like a failed relationship or something like that, but I feel like you're about to see that the person that you had that failed relationship with, I feel like you're about to see a connection that they have with someone else in their life that's really, I'm hearing that it's like, you're going to look at it like that's sick. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not, not that any of them is physically ill, right? But it just feels like you see that there's an attachment there between this person and someone else that is really unhealthy. It's almost like their dysfunction brings them together. It bonds them. And I feel like you, it does seem like something really brings you some hope here. And I mean, of course, that'll be different for everybody. It just feels like when you end up focusing on this kind of new opportunity for someone that's actually quite important to you, I feel like you don't even notice these two anymore. So the next person, so I'm actually just going to jot down the time there. Whoops. Okay. So who is the next person for Aquarius Sun? Whoa! If I knew how to edit videos, I'd do the like earthquake shake thing. We have the Strength with the 10 of Cups. So it feels like there's somebody extraordinarily loving that's coming in, but not the kind of loving that is, you know, I want to say like weak of character. You know what I mean? It's like, this isn't the kind of love that's just going to tell you what you want to hear. Maybe they'll tell you what you need to hear, but it doesn't feel like they'll be forceful, aggressive, or condescending about it. I feel like this is the kind of person, it does feel, okay, that they're the kind of person that you can build a family with. And I feel like for whatever reason right now, the two of you are kind of looking in opposite directions. It's almost like, well, you're kind of sorting out whatever's going on in your heart when it comes to this person, I feel like your person is really looking back at something with a lot of fondness. I'm trying to feel into it. It doesn't feel necessarily, it's almost like I'm not really getting any of those, this is a returning love sort of vibe. But I'm not feeling that it's brand new either, if that makes sense. It does feel like it's almost like maybe the two of you knew of each other. You know, maybe the two of you went to the same school, but you were in different grades and didn't really, you know what I mean? It feels like the kind of connection that you won't recognize each other immediately. But as the two of you kind of work, you know, proceed in the relationship, I feel like you either went to the same schools or lived in the same area. It just feels like there's a lot of similarities between the two of you. I feel like this person makes you feel a little bit inadequate, and not because they're doing anything to make you feel that way. It just feels like you see this person as somebody that is oh, you know what? Hold on for a sec. I feel like at first this person may make you be like, oh, I'm not where I need to be. I don't feel like that hovers over you for a long time. I feel like you do shake that off pretty quickly. But I'm also feeling here, hold on. I feel like there's something here. There's something here that you seem to be questioning about this one. It's almost like they have a dog that's too tame, right? It seems like there's something here that has submitted to them that seems almost like it's making you question what kind of person they are. It's not quite, but it's almost that energy of like, this person seems so good that they must not be true, but I feel like that's actually not the case here. I mean, it does feel like they might be a little bit, I want to say like controlling or demanding, and of course that's never a good thing, right? I do feel that you're going to see through those defenses pretty quickly. It doesn't mean that the two of you are, you know, and I say this on my channel every time I do readings, and I feel like I'm kind of leading people to believe that someone's their soulmate or their twin flame. I want to be really clear that myself as a reader, I'm not going to speak for any of the other readers, but I can't tell you who is your soulmate, who you're going to end up with, who your twin flame is. You'll know when you know. So I want to make sure that I'm not kind of making you feel that this is the one and only, okay? It does feel like there's a lot of potential, but I feel like you may kind of be in a position where you feel like you want to focus on other things right now. This person, it's like they're kind of the mind that if you want them, you'll approach them. And from what I'm seeing, I'm not so sure. I'm not telling you to do this, okay? This is just from the energetics that I'm seeing right now. It feels like it's kind of like a fleeting sort of thing if it ever gets off the ground in the first place. It feels like that kind of energy where it's almost like if you've been single for a while and you see somebody that like, wow, that person's really interesting, and then you realize you have a little bit more work to do. It's almost like maybe, whereas this person is waiting because they feel that like if somebody wants them, they'll approach them. I feel like you're in an energy where it's almost like there's something else here. I do feel like it might have something to do with this situation. There's something else here that that is more important for you to focus on, and it's not the cards telling you that. That's kind of how it just seems to be what I'm picking up from you. I feel like you feel that you have more loyalty and responsibility to this situation than you do to whatever this is. And I feel for a lot of you that you may let this fall and focus on whatever's going on up here. And again, maybe you will, maybe you won't. Okay, that's just based on the energy that I'm seeing right now. It feels like it's the kind of person that maybe, like, even if something doesn't get off the ground, it's almost like if your heart was hard to new connections, I feel like it makes you open to the next one, because it's almost like you start to believe that maybe something really would work out. Maybe all people aren't horrible, and not that you think that they all are, but you know what I mean. So for those of you with your moon in Aquarius, so we have the King of Wands. We do have the Queen of Wands here, so just a second. Hold on for a minute. It could be someone of the same gender that's interested in you. I'm not feeling that particularly either way. Whatever it is, it's like if they're not the same gender, I feel like this person is, it's almost like they're more like you than you would like them to be. You know what I'm saying? They seem to, and what's, it feels like they're a bit of a firecracker. It's almost like you can see that there's times where this person, it's like they keep themselves under control, but they seem to almost have this, it feels a little bit explosive, maybe not temper, but it feels like you seem to have this kind of like inner calm, almost like your baseline is here. This person's baseline is here. It's like they're always kind of ready to pop off, or at least that's the impression that you're getting. I actually feel like that's a defense mechanism coming from some really deep hurt in this person. I feel like they're really, it's almost like they don't want to admit to themselves that that person in the past or those people in the past hurt them the way that they did. They don't want to believe that they gave those people power over them in terms of how they got hurt. This person seems to see you as, I mean, a lot wiser than them. I feel like they see you as, may not be the actual situation, okay, but it's almost like this person knows that the two of you have both been through difficult times, right? The both of you have been very hurt by other people. And I feel like they're looking at you like, okay, well, maybe if I spend enough time around Aquarius, I'll, how they handle things will kind of rub off on me. And I feel like this person, it's almost like they have, hold on for a second. It has this energy of they see it, they know they want it, but it's almost like they're not quite ready to accept it. I feel like they are, it's almost like even if it did really take off, I feel like it's almost like you would be putting out fires that this person has all the time. And it's not like you're incapable of doing it or that it would even be terribly taxing to you. It just feels like it turns into a situation where it's somebody that you have to manage rather than somebody that you can kind of like grow and enjoy and have that reciprocal relationship with, if that makes sense. It's almost like they get really angry at things a lot. And it feels for some of you that it could be coming from this really strong sense of justice, right? It's like if they see an injustice, it makes their skin crawl. And I feel like there's times where they, excuse me, they kind of have to be reminded that, that like they can't fight everybody all the time. You know what I mean? It's like this person doesn't quite understand or even agree with that statement that like you have to pick your battles. You know what I mean? It's like they seem to feel that they can pick every battle, and although you do seem to admire their, tenacity, and it does feel like the physical connection between the two of you is pretty intense. I feel like if there is, let's say for the two of you are dating for a while and then one of you goes away or for a little bit or something, it's almost like you may feel, I mean, obviously you're going to notice their absence, but it's almost like you'll notice how do I say this? You do seem to want them there, but you also are able to acknowledge that life is a lot easier in their absence, a lot calmer. So those of you with an Aquarius rising, we have the Seven of Cups with the Fool at the bottom of the deck here. So Aquarius rising. Okay. Hold on for a second here. I'm going to be honest, okay? I feel like this person has some options. I mean, that's obvious with the Seven of Cups, right? But they seem actually very indecisive. It's almost like they may have a bunch of options, but they drag their feet choosing one because it's almost like they might not really even want a relationship. They're just being presented with a lot of options. And I feel like you actually turn away from them. It's almost that energy of like either you find out that they've made you an option or that you are or something. It just feels like there's something about them being unsure or uncertain about you or even having a relationship that seems to make you go pretty cold on this person. And I feel like I certainly hope that you're not the last to find that out. But I feel like there's something that seems to really, it's almost like it's an immediate turnoff the way you find out. And that seems to, it's almost like you seem to put up this brick wall between the two of you. I feel like at first they might be really quite appealing because, maybe they have a lot of money or they're very traditionally attractive or they dress like, there is definitely something about them that's quite appealing. It's very intriguing. It could be that it's almost like there's something about them. You can see that most people around them genuinely enjoy them. And of course that would be the case for a lot of people, but it's almost like you can see that people really want to be around this person. It's like people really want to talk to them. People really enjoy the kind of back and forth reciprocal conversation that they have with it. I'm obviously not picking it up. One sec. I feel like this is someone that's very generous with their time, their energy, their resources. It just feels like they may be very disconnected from most people most of the time. And I feel like it's almost this energy of like, that something isn't right with this one, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And I feel like eventually they get so wishy-washy that I feel like you just get fed up. Again, it's not telling you to do that. It's just, that's kind of what I'm seeing. So for those of you with your Venus in Aquarius, Ace of Swords, again with the Fool. Excuse me. So, one second here, guys. Okay. So, I feel like there's somebody here that's very outspoken. It's almost like this person I feel like either they actually do this or they're this kind of person. They're the one that's going to come in and say what everybody else is thinking, but either had like the good graces or it's almost like the second before you open your mouth to tell somebody what they need to hear because you're fed up with their BS, this one comes in and is like, that's it, I can't do it anymore. Like, they seem to be somebody that is very, it feels like this person might almost be a little bit abrasive when it comes to what they say to people, how they talk, that sort of thing. But what seems to be very refreshing about them is that there's no BS. Like, I feel like with this person, you know where you stand. And it's like maybe they'll be a little bit too honest. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll be somebody that it's almost the kind of person, doesn't mean they would actually say this, but that, for example, if they had a lot of options like this person from Aquarius Rising, I feel like this one would kind of be the person that would say, like, okay, well, I don't know you really well, and there's other people that I'm dating, so, you know, just letting you know. Like, I feel like they would be that matter of fact, that kind of blunt about it. I'm hearing this, like, live by the sword, die by the sword. Like, they seem to be somebody that is very internally driven. I feel like this is someone that is it's almost like they seem to have such a big personality. I feel like they're kind of impossible to influence. And I use the word influence because it's not like you're trying to control anybody, but of course, if you're in a connection with somebody and you want what's best for them, then like there's going to be times where you want to talk with them about certain things, right? And I feel like this person will not. It's almost like if you tried to talk to them about something like that, it almost feels like they would just tune you out, because I feel like they're just going to think about it internally. It's going to be a very internal experience how they choose to move forward. I feel like this person is somebody that they seem to be quite a dynamic individual. I feel like it's someone that you never really know what to expect from them. I feel like they are, they do seem to really long for a companion that would be loyal to them. But I feel like they do seem to be holding space for that to happen, but they're not actively searching for it. So I think I'll leave it there, Aquarius. If this reading resonated, of course, I hope it was helpful. I hope that it brought you some clarity. I will, of course, have if you're new here, welcome. I do have the mini weekly reads coming out on Sunday, and then a different kind of read coming out on Thursday. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.